The Montana winds roared like an angry beast, hurling ice and snow through the dense evergreen forest as Michael Thompson gripped his 12-year-old daughter Luna's gloved hand. Their breath steamed in the frigid air while 3 loyal shepherd dogs surged ahead, noses to the ground, forging a narrow path through drifts that threatened to swallow them whole. Every crunch of snow underfoot seemed to echo in the vast hush, and Luna's cheeks stung in the cutting wind. Without warning, the lead dog froze, ears pricked and tail rigid, nose pointing toward a fallen spruce trunk that lay half buried under powder. Michael's heart thudded as he approached, feeling the storm's fury around them. And then Luna let out a startled cry that split the icy silence like a knife. What had their dogs discovered out here in the wilderness? Michael's pulse thundered as he peered beneath the snow-dusted branches, and there, huddled in a trembling heap, lay a tiny bobcat kitten whose fur was matted red with blood. Its cloudy blue eyes flickered open, weak as the final ember of a dying fire. Michael knelt, ripping off his gloves to press his palm against its ice-cold belly. The storm had trapped them all in a life-or-death crucible. Temperatures were plunging, and this orphaned creature, likely separated by a poacher's illegal snare, stood no chance alone. The tracks around the scene matched signs of a steel jaw trap hidden in the drift. As a biologist, Michael knew wildlife interference could backfire, yet compassion overrode caution. He could not leave this innocent to perish. And then he realized the dogs, those fierce guardians of their home, were nuzzling the kitten with curiosity rather than aggression, as if pledging allegiance to this small, stranded soul. Could a wild creature learn to trust where instinct screamed danger? By dawn, back in the warm light of their farmhouse kitchen, Rebecca, Michael's wife and a seasoned veterinarian, had assessed Scout, as Luna insisted on naming her. The bobcat's core temperature hovered precariously low, and her ribs were distinct beneath her fur. Rebecca's professional skepticism warred with hope, as she wrapped Scout in blankets and started an emergency fluid line. As night fell, the couple settled by the kitchen stove, listening to Scout's ragged breaths. When morning crept in, bleary and pink-tinged, Scout lay nestled among the 3 shepherds who had formed a vigilant circle, their bodies radiating heat like living quilts. Against all odds, she had survived. How could this fragile interloper belong here with these domestic sentinels? Over the next 2 weeks, the storm raged into one of the heaviest snowfalls Montana had recorded. Roads vanished under drifts, phone lines crackled with static, and the Wildlife Conservation Department seemed unreachable. Yet in confinement and cold, Scout thrived in her unconventional family. Michael documented every oddity. Scout mirrored the lead dog's confident stride, sat on command, and bounded after Luna's thrown ball. One evening, a curious attempt at communication emerged. A husky cough bark oscillating between growl and hiss that left even the shepherds cocking their heads. By month's end, the kitten had grown into a powerful youngster, her spotted coat filling out while her instinct strapped her with reflexes like a feline shadow. But her loyalty to 3 dogs and a human family defied all norms. How long could her wild heart stay tethered to this bond? Word of Scout's unusual upbringing spread like wildfire when Luna, her phone forgotten in an early evening's excitement, captured a video of Scout perched on a fence rail beside the lead shepherd. Both silhouettes outlined in sunset. The clip went viral overnight. A bobcat that thought it was a dog, bounding through snowdrifts and herding sheep. Curious neighbors began trekking down their icy lane. Then came Ranger Martinez, stern and by the book, who arrived with news that chilled them more than any wind. Montana law forbade keeping a native predator without permit. Michael moved swiftly to apply for a special wildlife keeping license. Meanwhile, Scout continued sleeping between the dogs, rising with them to patrol the farm's boundary fencing. Was a permit enough to keep this family intact? Weeks passed with no reply. The wildlife officials, unmoved by Michael's pleas, summarily denied the application. Scout belonged in the wild. In desperation, Luna recorded herself tearfully, begging the department to reconsider. Her plea struck a chord, and social media lit up with support. Under mounting public pressure, the Conservation Department dispatched a delegation. The director, a lead zoologist, and Ranger Martinez, all intent on evaluating the spectacle themselves. Their all-day observation unfolded like a documentary. Scout heedful of every command, yet stalking shadows with feline precision. Playful one moment, alert the next. The zoologist admitted the case was unprecedented. Yet law was law. Wildlife had to remain wild. Could there be a compromise between statute and miracle? An unlikely middle ground emerged. Scout would be released into a protected wilderness enclave just 100 meters from the Thompson farm, fitted with a GPS collar. If she thrived, the collar would track her progress. If not, alternative arrangements would follow. Preparations commenced under uneasy calm. Rebecca packed high-calorie food pouches. Michael awkwardly fastened the tracker around Scout's neck, and Luna sobbed through every moment. The shepherds, wise to something awry, whined and circled the transport crate, noses pressed to rusted bars. The lead dog planted himself like a sentry, refusing to budge until Michael gently coaxed him away. As the Ranger's SUV disappeared down the snowy lane, it felt as though part of the family vanished with it. Would Scout choose survival over kinship? At dawn, on a grassy valley rimmed by pines, the crate's door clicked open. Scout padded out, fur bristling, whiskers quivering at scents of pine resin and spring meltwater. She hesitated, then darted into the edge of the forest. Pausing on a soft bed of moss to glance back, ears flicked. Was that regret? Then, like a bolt from a hidden bow, she sprinted toward a rustle in the underbrush, fur rippling in the sunlight. Michael's breath caught. Instinct had awakened. Yet as the days unfolded, GPS pings told a different story. Scout was not dispersing. She was navigating home. Each blip on the map traced a resolute path back to the farm, crossing streams, slipping through human territory, even braving a highway crossing under tangled headlights. How strong must the ties of love be to guide a wild heart through such dangers? On the 10th night, just when hope had thinned to a fragile thread, the Thompson home erupted in barking. The lead dog raced to the door, furious and jubilant. Michael flung it open into the moonlit yard. And there, slender but weathered, stood Scout, her collar gone but spirit unbroken. The dogs surged forward, and Scout met them in a blur of pounces and playful snarls. The reunion a tangle of wet fur and joyful cries. Luna collapsed to her knees, laughing through tears, while Michael and Rebecca embraced the miraculous sight. Could science ever quantify this display of attachment? In the golden haze of the next morning, Ranger Martinez arrived again, curiosity softening his stern mien. Scout lounged beside the dogs as if she had never left. Her muscles were lean, a small scar on her leg, but otherwise intact. "I've never seen anything like this," he murmured, watching Scout rise at the call of a shepherd's bark. The director and zoologist soon followed, eyes wide as they reviewed Scout's journey. 100 miles of treacherous terrain, navigated with uncanny precision. They conceded that Scout's behavior defied every textbook on feline ecology. Was it geomagnetic sense, memory, or pure devotion? None could decide. A month later, an extraordinary permit arrived. Scout would remain on the Thompson farm as part of a long-term study on interspecies bonding. Conditions stipulated a spacious, natural enclosure, regular inspections, and public education seminars. Rebecca's relief was palpable. Michael's pride shone in every line of his face. Luna leaped around the living room, promising to be Scout's student for life. The farm transformed into a living laboratory and learning centre, drawing visitors eager to witness Scout's rare dual nature, wild beauty tempered by canine loyalty. A year on, Scout sat atop a sun-warmed rock in her enclosure, surveying the farm with the same attentive poise as the lead shepherd at dawn. Her coat gleamed auburn under the high summer sun, her golden eyes calm yet alert. She embodied two worlds, the fierce independence of her species and the hearty devotion of her adopted brothers. As children and researchers gathered to watch her gentle patrol, they saw more than a bobcat or a pet. They saw proof that sometimes the bonds of love overrule instinct, and that family is shaped by care, not just birth. And in that moment, on that rocky perch, Scout's gaze drifted toward the horizon, as is promising that wherever the wind howled next, she would always remember home.